afternoon and welcome to TakeStock Live. It has just gone noon here on the East Coast and we are broadcasting live on Facebook Live. My name's Sam Evans. I am the co-host? I'm the only host of TakeStock Live, brought to you by StockAbility.com. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful Thursday so far as well. Today's date is March 11th and like I said, it's just gone afternoon here as well. And as you know, this is a live show. So if you are looking at us live, I keep an idea and I keep one eye on the audience at all times as well. And as your questions and comments come in, I'm always happy to answer them in real time as it goes. If you are looking at the recording, you can catch this recording here on Facebook Live on the StockAbility homepage, or you can go to youtube.com and you can always see all of the reruns there as well. We'll talk about the markets in a second as well. We've got a great day. We are celebrating International Women's Day that was on March 8th earlier this week, and we decided here at TakeStock Live to extend it for the whole week. And in celebration of that and in recognition of it, I actually have one of the StockAbility students, Andrea Galitz, who's going to be joining me on the show today. And I'm really excited about it, talking about what got her into trading and women's place in trading and investing. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years now. And I got to say, the world is dominated by men. And it's just great I always find anytime, I bring somebody in, with a different perspective, whether it's someone younger who's, but still in school looking at the market, or someone who's never considered investing. And in this case, women more and more coming into the market, they offer a different perspective. And I love this. And I love working with, and some of the best instructors I ever worked with were actually women as well. I think that women personally handle loss and risk a lot better than men. I'm going on the record saying that. And I'm going to talk to Andrea all about that as well. And more importantly, what got her into it. And, as this whole world is changing, what can trading and investor offer all of us here if we're looking for a different opportunity in the market? So really going to be doing that, and we'll be coming out. Andrea will be joining us from Illinois in just a little bit as well. If you are joining us as well, man, what a day in the markets again. What is the major news? Let's take a look at here. The Dow is adding to yesterday's record high close. Yesterday, the Dow had an extremely strong close on the market. Right now, looking at the actual markets here, Dow trading at 32,596. I was buying on the market. I was closing out at 32,500. Now it's at 32,600. Nothing can seem to stop these markets as well. Jobless claims not as bad as expected either. On the jobless claims front as well, the Labour Department on today reported 712,000 new filings for unemployment benefits during the week ending March 6th. That's actually fewer than they were estimating at 725,000. Not a whole lot fewer, but hey, listen, good news is good news nevertheless. And it feels like any sniff of good news at the moment just seems to push this market on higher and higher. It needs no excuses to go higher. This is just the way it is. President Biden to address the nation on the coronavirus response later on today as well. He's going to be doing an event with CEOs of Johnson & Johnson America at the South Coast Auditorium later on today as well. And the WHO declared COVID a pandemic 1 year ago. 1 year today. Oh my gosh. Here, I didn't even realize it was a year. How time goes and what a year it's been. A year later since the WHO declared COVID a pandemic. Oh my gosh. And it's day 2 on the New York Stock Exchange for Roblox and a debut for Copang as well. A couple of new OPOs as well coming in. But we like to look at those broad markets. So let's go on over to the charts. Let's take a little look and see what we can see on here. Here's my charts right now. I've got my real-time screen going on the market as we speak right now. So zoom in for you. Looking at those futures markets, let's take a look at these. So here we go, lad. Let's just move over. Dow Jones, mini Dow Jones on here. 32,605 on the futures right now. Russell at 2326. NASDAQ up 325 handles at 13,075 points right now. Huge, absolutely huge day on this as well. We've seen a little bit of a sell-off over the last couple of days on crude oil. Crude oil still up a little bit right now, but 65.87 on the day. Gold can't seem to get itself back consistently above 1,800 and is hovering just $2 up on the day at 17.23 right now as well. Overall, some of the big markets seeing some modest gains as well. Microsoft up $6.26 on the day at 238. Disney up $3 on the day at 198, knocking on the door of $200 a share, which is something we've been pretty bullish on here as well. Netflix openings pretty well today at 513 too. What else have we got on here? Tesla up $23 at 691 as well. And we've seen a lackluster Apple over the last couple of days, but it's been hovering around the 118, 120 mark, now holding at 122. I can't help but feel if we can hold the 120 mark on Apple, we're going to see things looking a little bit high. Let's go to the charts and just take a look and see what we can see. This is really the market leading it all. this is really the one that we're seeing the absolute push in at the moment. Here's the daily chart of Apple. Let's just zoom in so we can see this. I mean, what a push we've seen on Apple right now. I mean, look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days almost in a row of just consistent uptrend. One can't help but feel potentially that we got 35,000 knocking on the door. I'm still nervous about it. Make no mistake. I don't like it. I just don't feel comfortable when I see markets pushing at this kind of momentum. But guys, who are we to fight it? Let's go take a look at the other broad markets. He's going over to the futures right now. S&P 500. Now S&P, not quite as strong. It seems to be the Dow leading the charge. But looking at the chart on the right-hand side, we can see here. And let's just go to a full screen mode so we can really see that for what it is at the moment. There you go, guys. Look, this is the trend that we've been seeing on the S&P. And this is where we are right now. Struggling a little bit, the S&P. Only just getting over the previous highs. It's the Dow that seems to be leading the charge right now as well. It's the one that nothing can stop. And to me, the Dow's been having to play catch up to the other indexes as well. But S&P really knocking on the door of 4,000 points right now. Had a strong bounce back in the NASDAQ over the last couple of days. That nasty sell-off that we saw in the market going back a couple of weeks ago has easily bounded back. To me, not really surprised to see it. Got to be looking at these markets and got to be just seeing here major support levels around the 12,000. We were talking about this number a few weeks ago as well. And again, as Ryan Watkins, lead coach of StockAbility, keeps saying, at the moment, it's just about buying those dips. I've got to say, we just got to be cautious where we are. 13,000 is going to be a big challenge for the NASDAQ. But again, you can see, got a little bit of catching up to do to those other markets. Can the Dow help push this market just that little bit higher as well? And let's not forget about the Prince, the Russell. And here's the Russell again, following the big brother Dow on here, making fresh new highs today at 23.33 as well. I mean, what can stop these markets right now? I mean, I'm going to go back over to the Dow again, and I've been a buyer on the Dow the last couple of days, but I just get uneasy. I just see it keep going, keep going, keep going. But this is the thing when other asset classes apart from stocks can be so useful to us because, you know, again, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling anyone to put a whole chunk of money in the market right now with these prices being what they are, but a little bit of market, a little bit of money in the market, absolutely. But we've got to protect and we'll go. And we'll be talking to Andrea a little bit about that, how she plays markets like this right now. Also across here, looking at some of the other things, the Bitcoin up $500 on the day as well. Here we go, just so we can see this. Look at this. Bitcoin up again on the day, 56,923. Another strong day in the crypto world as well. Nothing, it seems, to stop. Everything just wants to pretty much go up. That's what it pretty much is. But there's bonds. There's bonds to talk about, and I'm sure we can talk a little bit about bonds and some of those alternative investments as we do more on this as well. So, I mean, it's a fun day. All I'm going to say to anybody right now is, you know, don't go aggressively shorting this market. Every time we see a pullback, and I feel like a broken record because I say this every single time I'm on the show lately, everything is on the upside. It's about being patient. It's about waiting for those pullbacks. And that is something that's very, very important to me, is trying to be patient with these markets. And, you know, when you see a market rallying higher and higher and higher, you want to get in, but the problem is you don't want to get in too late. These are all important things that we have to really take into account whenever we're doing this. But rather than me blabber on about it, I'd like to bring my guest on the show. It's not a TakeStock live show without my guest on here as well. So I'm going to bring my guest on, and I'd love to everybody to warmly welcome on here Andrea Galitz, joining us from Illinois. How are you, Andrea? Can you hear us loud and clear from where you are?
I can, yes.
Good.
Yes, and I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us on the show. This is your first time on a show, or are you used to this? Huh?
No. I've been in front of groups before. I used to manage and do workshops, but not in this forte, not with financial markets, so
it's just
I'm a little nervous here, Sam.
You don't need to be. It's just another Zoom call. Remember, we just use the technology on here.
Yeah.
But there's a few people watching us as well. Andrea, I want to... How have you been? I mean, my wife, you know, we were talking about this week, you know, March 8th was International Women's Day as well. And there's, you know, I think so much focus. And one of the things I think that's just changed over this last year is bigger awareness for all groups, you know. And to me, it's sad that we have to all be in groups. Why can't we all just be just one and so on? But it is what it is as well. But what does it feel like to you as someone who's been involved now in the markets and learning the markets as well? Do you feel that there is a lack of awareness or a lack of women in the investing and trading world still? And let's talk about it from, firstly a professional point of view. If you're going to see a money manager, do you still feel like it's a real male dominated industry at the moment?
Absolutely, 100%. And I don't think that's, like you said, I don't think there's any shame in that. However, I think as a woman myself, and having two girls, I think we just needed to take a little bit more, or I needed to take a little bit more responsibility on understanding where my money was going and understanding where our 401k was going.
Right.
And yeah, so definitely I do still see, obviously we're in the trade room and how many women are in the room with us versus the men, but I like it. You know what? I like it, but I do have a goal, long-term goal, to help more women and moms and families grow their understanding.
That's wonderful. And tell me this, Andrea, as well. So how long ago was it? Let's take a step back for a second, because I mean, like a lot of people, you mentioned the 401k. Last week on the show, we were talking about that. Most people, I feel, who take an interest in the market, and I'm talking here in the US, and I've seen it in the UK, but definitely here in the US, there's still we've got markets going up, but there's still an underlying frustration with the overall performance of the 401k and the IRA and the mutual funds. What was it? Did you have that frustration? And what was it that really sparked your interest to say, hey, I need to start looking at doing this a little bit more myself and taking an active role?
Well, actually, I don't have a 401k. I never did. I moved to the United States from Canada 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, and I believe it or not, my 20-year career span, about 15 of that was in social services.
Right.
Okay. So come from social services and then coming to the financial world, how did that bridge happen? Well, I don't know how many people are aware, but you don't get paid a whole lot in social services.
Right.
You provide a service. And I was, like I said, I was a manager, an education manager at Head Start program, working my butt off, but I loved it. But one day I opened up my husband's 401k and saw that we were paying X amount of money for somebody to manage it. And I would ask them, what are we getting for this? What is this?
That's a great question, by the way. What are you getting for the fees you're paying?
Yeah,
right?
well,
no one asks it.
Right, and it was about 5 years ago, so the economy was okay. We weren't down, like nothing, and he didn't know, and I was like, well, I want to know. And then from there, it kind of just snowballed. It kind of went from searching online to, trying to understand the invoice to, I knew what the markets were. I had no idea how they worked. I knew people could make lots of money in them, but that's not what drew me to. What drew me to it was I just kept digging, and it snowballed and it snowballed. And then finally I came across one academy that was online. You're familiar with it. And I took a free program just to be like, I need to educate myself more. I want more for my family. I want to go on vacations. I don't want to live in this scarcity mode of paycheck to paycheck, working my butt off, and many people out there are working in jobs where their hours exceed well above 40 hours. I had two young girls. I got a note home from my child when my oldest child, when she was in first grade, and the note said from the teacher was, I really need you to check her homework. And that's what dawned to me, because I've been spending my 40, 50 hours in social services taking care of other people's children. And I get that note, and it really, you can still hear it in my voice, it really hits, because I was counting on the after school program to do my daughter's homework, and I wasn't okay with that. So I went to my boss and I asked for more money to justify my hours, and they came back and told me no. So I have a very supportive husband, and we talked about it, and the decision was, well, they're not willing to give me more money and they're just going to ask me to work more, quit. And I did. I had my real estate license, and I was going to go and start doing real estate full time and hopefully make something out of this financial market. So I started to dig into, and long story short, I am here. And I wouldn't change a thing.
It's a wonderful thing. It is what you just said to me was that about there you were spending 40, 50 hours a week looking after everybody else's kids, but not your own. I mean, to me, I've been involved in you know, the financial markets for close to 20 years, teaching for over a decade now, maybe 12 years. And what always frustrated me was when people would come and say, I want to learn this because I want to make a lot of money. And I'd always say to them, why do you need to make a lot of money? And they look at you like, you know, and I'm like, get to the point of it. Why do you need to do it? Because it's the people with a real reason why. And, you know, when I heard you talking about your girls there, that's real to me. That's the price of stuff. I have a 3-year-old, as you know, and I probably spent more time with him in the last 3 years than some of my friends have spent with their kids in the last 20 years, you know, because of having the freedom of it. Now, it drives you nuts sometimes as well because you don't get a break. Oh. But I wouldn't change it, you know. I wouldn't change it.
Right.
You mentioned a salary too. Let's go to that point, and I'd love to kind of bring this back and circle back as well to, like, you know, how women find it in the workplace as well. You mentioned my salary. I have a real problem with the word salary, and the reason I have a problem with it is it's literally a label that's put on someone. This is what your time's worth. To me, my time's worth infinite, right? And I really hate that. It's amazing just how many ceilings there are. And let's just forget men, women, young, old. Just in every career, there's a label on every job that we do, isn't there? And there's only so far you can go. And I think we live in a world where it says, well, you just got to work harder and harder and longer to do this. I'm a big believer in, well, why don't we branch out and work smarter? That seems to me what you've done. You mentioned your Realtor license that you do now as well. You're into trading, investing. What are your thoughts on multiple income streams, and how do you juggle all of that, Andrea, as well?
Well, it's funny. So when this all happened 5 years ago, but if I narrow it down farther to only 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I made a decision to join EXP, which is an online brokerage. Huge jump. I live in an area where no other real estate agents joined on, but I believe my little bit at this time of understanding about the financial markets and what EXP was going to give us when we joined, which was stock, and participate in a stock market. Was it a penny stock at the time? Absolutely. Did I know what a penny stock was? Not really.
Most people don't.
No, right. I still saw the potential of where it could go. And so that 3 years ago, from that, me joining EXPI, again, opened up a huge snowball effect into another world. I got introduced to some amazing real estate coaches, which I never even knew that there was real estate coaches out there.
Great.
And they talked about, you know, working smarter versus working harder.
Yeah. And
when I got that real estate coach 3 years ago, my real estate income, I can say income because I don't see it as a sales business, but my real estate business tripled in 1 year. And it's maintained that plateau where I like it at for the last 2 years, and I'm working less because of the strategies and the things that they have given me to implement. It's been crazy. You know, you look at COVID this last year, and we've all had to pivot. And one of the pivots I did was really looking at my trading career, trying to make the living I want to make out of it. And I saw the success of having a coach in real estate. I have 4 coaches in real estate, and I have a life coach. And I saw the success I was getting from them. The only place I wasn't seeing success was in my trading, and I was getting discouraged. But now I had more time. It was when September came, we got remote learning put in our lap. How am I going to do real estate? You know, I just have to raise my standards of who I'm going to work with. I'm not just going to go open the door to anybody. But I knew I wanted to push more into the trading and investing because it allowed me to get it done between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. I'm done, and then also be available to do the remote learning and not have to, again, you know, run around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find somewhere for my girls to go. So in September, I connected with Brian, which is one of the coaches with StockAbility, through, again, social media. Social media has been a blessing for me, just with growing connections and surrounding myself around people I want to be like. And I connected with Brian. And then again, it just snowballed. And here I am. And then December, I joined with StockAbility through Brian. And just seeing my skills sharpen, I've got a good feeling like I'm going places.
I've worked with you, not as extensively as Ryan has, but I've had the pleasure of starting to work with you, and the questions are great and you're very committed to it. And I think that's one of the things you say, like anything we do, we have to be committed. I think a lot of people love the idea of change. They love the idea of having different things, but they're not prepared to do what they need to do to get those different things. And
right.
I said that especially about trading and investing. I'm like, everybody loves the idea of it. They don't like the reality of it always.
No,
but it's hard work.
No.
Is it really any different to anything? I'm a fitness guy, and I'm having a quiet week this week, but I do everything. I weight train, I do boxing, I do yoga, I do running, and it's hard work, but to get those goals, you got to eat right, you got to exercise right. Is it really any different in any area of life? You want to be a doctor, you got to put the time in. You've told me, I'm sure there's a lot of realtors out there. Let's go back to that. There's tons of realtors out there, but not all of them are successful. You said to me that you've actually said, hey, I want to surround myself by as much knowledge and develop that skill. And really, I think that I'm sure you could go online and try and learn to be a realtor on your own as well. Heck, you can go online and try and learn to trade and invest, but then there's the people who take it that little bit more serious, right? And I think it's the same in anything that you do as well. And I think the biggest challenge right now is finding the right people. That's the hard thing, wouldn't you say?
It is. And it's not being scared to go and ask somebody for help.
Right.
Hey, or just even stalking somebody you think that's interested. Don't be, obviously, like, I think sometimes there's that barrier there for one to ask questions.
Yes.
And then two, we don't want anyone, we don't want to upset anybody's feelings, or we don't, whatever it might be. There's so many emotions behind there, but you got to kind of just move through that. You said earlier that, there's a skill. Now, when I first started trading 5 years ago, it's very simple to just click a button and just see money go up and down. And
I know, right?
It's kind of, and it's dangerous. And that's what I fear for people, especially with what's happened earlier in the year with all the hype out there with trading. But it truly is. And one of our teachers back then, and you know her very well, she said something that stuck in my head, but I didn't want to believe it. But now, 3 years, 5 years later, I believe it 100%, is trading is a skill. You need to focus on the skill first and the money will follow. So that goes with anything, even with real estate. Getting a real estate license is so simple, honestly. Anybody can do it. But what makes you, what is your purpose behind it? We talked about purpose before. What is your purpose to make a paycheck, make a salary? Or is your purpose really to help people and, provide? I'm a believer of what you give out is what you get in. So if I want to give out money and just work about sales, then that's how it's going to come back in. But if I continue my background with social services and look to continue to help people and educate people, then, there is no money tied to that. Obviously I have to pay my bills. But my job in this world, I have one job in this world, Sam, and that's that I got 2 kids, 2 girls out there that I want them to be able to, for one, know that they can do anything they put their mind to it, as long as they work hard. And 2, that you got to be a good person.
Yeah.
You got to have standards. You got to have beliefs. You got to have a value, and and it's so easy in today's world to navigate away from those, but you got to pull yourself back in, and you're going to be tempted, and there's going to be bells and whistles in front of you. There's going to be things out there, but for focusing, and I know you're big on this, focusing on your mind and your values again. That's what's going to make you a happy life or not. That's what I believe in. So
I can relate to that. And you said what you put in, you get back out. And a lot of people don't understand that. If you've ever struggled with that concept, and anybody listening right now, that what you give, you get back. Think about being a parent. That's how I relate to it more than this. Ever since I had my kid, like the amount of effort I try to put into being the best parent I can, but what I get back from it then is tenfold. So that's the most real example I can see. And then you can see it from other areas of life. But it's also what you give in the effort towards creating something for yourself. And you touched on something really, really important before as well. And I know Ryan, my colleague, says this a lot, Andrea. And this is something I believe in with all of my heart, and I try to drill in. Trading and investing is definitely a skill, There's a difference between knowledge and skill. You can read every book in the world. You can learn every strategy in the world. And that's why I feel for all these people in these forums, you know, on Wall Street Bets and Reddit and all these blogs and all that. And it's like, there's a ton of opinion and knowledge out there about how much skill is there. I look at it like this, you know, we could sit there and I could watch, you know, a great tennis player, you know, Djokovic or Federer, you know, and watch them play. And I could watch them for 8 hours a day playing every game. And I can absorb everything they do. It doesn't mean I can play tennis like those guys. You know, I've got to get on a court and I've got to play with them. And maybe I'm never going to be anywhere near as good as them. But if maybe they were side by side giving me some lessons, I'm sure it's going to help my game. That's how I look at it as well. And I think that, you know, today, you know, there's a ton of knowledge. And this is where I think we've got to be very careful as a world right now, is there's a ton of information. And the internet's opened up this ton of information, which can be seen as knowledge, but it's not a skill builder. And I think that's the hands-on approach that you're talking about as well, is because repeat. That's the bit that doesn't come easy. Let me ask you this. With that in mind, as you're on this trading and investing journey yourself, you've had great education from numerous sources. You know, you're working with us, which is great and everything. What would you say is your biggest challenge? Because we all have our own challenges, and I'll happily share mine. What would you say is your biggest challenge, Andrea, that you face?
The mind. Still the mind. So it's the mind of patience. So understanding that if I have a setup, or if I have my trade plan set up, I need to follow that process and not let my mind play tricks on me and think that this is an easy process. With trading, I believe you need three things. You need discipline, obviously, which is hard. We all think we have it until you blow up your account. You need a process, and you need that mindset. So if I stick to my process every single time, then I'm going to be okay. But I'll tell you that still, you know, with the distractions I have going on in my life, I still want to just click that button because I see other people doing it. And I just have to remind myself, take a break, take a breath, and have some patience and fully understand what am I getting into. It's funny because with remote learning, the market's open at 9 o'clock my time. 8:30 my time. Well, my kids' classes start at 9. So, you know what? Sometimes my daughter's on my lap and when we look at things, and other times I just have to miss out. And if I miss out on a trade, that's okay.
Yeah. Being okay with that is so important.
For me, it took, and I think it's hard as traders to accept that. Yeah. You know, if you miss that day where, like on Friday, where that huge move back up, you miss that, you know, you can't get upset about it. You just got to move forward, and the next one will come. There's so many opportunities in trading. You got to just have the patience and the discipline and follow the process.
That's my biggest thing I can relate to, patience as well, you know, and FOMO. I talk about this all the time, fear of missing out. I think we're like that as human beings. Unfortunately, we're just not built, I feel, to be traders. And that's what the biggest challenge is as well, you know. Right. And also, you know, not getting too much of an opinion. I mean, let's just take a look at these markets right now as well. I mean, I'll just pull this up. You can see this. I was talking about the Dow Jones earlier over here on the right-hand side, and I'll zoom in so you can actually see this as well from where you are. And I'll go full screen on this. Okay. This is a daily chart that you're seeing. But I mean, just look at this Dow Jones. Today we put in a brand new high of 32,641 that you can see right here. Nothing but just upside on this market. You know, one of the things I've been having an interesting discussion with a lot of people lately, and especially professionals, Andrew, is they're like, this market's too high. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be there. I keep betting on it going down. And I'm like, that's the problem. You've got an opinion. Like, I think that this market is ludicrous right now. I think it's a joke. Right. There's no way on earth any reason why the Dow Jones should be where it is. There's no reason why anything should be, especially where. But my opinion doesn't matter. That's what I think somebody doesn't get. It's not about you. It's not about what you think. It's about what you do. And today, you know, I got into the market on a breakout and I ended up closing out my position right around here at 32,500. And here we are 100 points earlier. But that was my rule. That was my process. I move on. it's called acceptance, you know. And what do you try to do because what are your techniques? I mean, I go back and I look at my results and I'm like, hey, I stick to my plan because I got the results to prove it. What about yourself? What do you find that keeps you grounded as well when you're looking at situations like this?
Well, I have two things I have to do, and for everything is one, I have to fill out a trade plan. I have a template format already created. Ryan helps with that. And I have to fill that out before I make any trade. That kind of just slows my brain down, slows the process down, make sure I'm fully focused. The next thing I do is at the end of that day, if I don't get it done the end of that day, it has to be the next day, I complete a trade grade. Basically, it's again, Ryan helps with this. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and it's just grading my plan. Did I follow it? Yes or no? And it's making sure I keep those percentages over 70% on both ways. You're going to have losing trades that follow your plan, and you've done everything right. And that emotion behind it of I followed my plan, that makes it okay. That takes the anxiety out of it, because if anybody's ever traded or ever thinking about trading, the money flashes, it's ridiculous on how fast it flashes back and forth. And that I can see be a lot of harm to many people, no matter which way it goes. If it goes up, it's going to cause harm. If it goes down, it's going to cause harm. So I know for myself, putting the plan in place before every trade, it just calms me down. It centers me. I am a person that is very active. My mind is always racing. So those are things I have to do to make sure I can, one, justify my trade, and then two, reduce the anxiety and stress.
That's great.
And that's key with trading, right? You can't have stress, or
you can't. It's a plan. It's a business. It's probably not really very much different to what you're doing here. And, you know, and to me, you're an entrepreneur. You know, you've got in different areas, and you have a structure to what you do in your realtor world, and you have a structure of what you do here. Heck, you have a structure of what you do as a mum. You know, you have to have a plan.
I try.
If you don't have, I know, and things change. I get that as a parent myself as well. Let me ask you this, and then I'd love to kind of talk charts with you as well. One of the things I think is, and I've seen this, a couple of questions. Firstly, it's why do you think still that this is trading and investing, the world is, and I'm talking about, obviously, now you'd made the decision to say, hey, I don't want to let someone manage my long-term wealth, but then you've progressed, you're still doing that, but now you do the short-term, so you're trading for income as well and ongoing. You know, I still see so few women coming into this world, you know, to learn to be traders. It's such a male-dominated industry. Do you feel like it's beginning to change? And what do you think it is still that puts women off? Or do you think it's just that they're not aware of it, Andrea? Because obviously you're aware of it.
Right. Well, I think awareness is one. I think, and I'm talking as a mom and just for myself, I think as a mom and a wife and working, you know, we just get I find our days just spin. It's just routine, one after the other. It's just trying to survive, trying to get to the next step, especially with this last year of COVID, and in all families. But as a mom, on how the difficulty of this, you know, my kids have been home with me on March 13th. It will be a whole year that they've been home with me. And, you know, we work in routine so much. We just take care of everybody else. But so I think that has something to do with it. To further the question that you asked, do I think more women are getting into it? I do, because I've had people reach out to me and ask me, how do you do it? How can I start with $100? You know, so that is what's kind of made me pivot again to think, you know, maybe I can start helping people on long-term things, of educating them how the markets work.
Great.
And the opportunities that are there. Now, do I want people to start trading? No, because again, you know, there's so many things that have to be set up. But I do feel that a small portion of women are getting into the market and trying it out. I want to stress this. Your education level with the markets means nothing. The markets don't care. The markets don't care how old you are. They don't care if you were, you know, on a roll or if you're not. If you can follow a process and you are willing to self-reflect and you are willing to put in the time, I think anybody can do it. And the skills that I've seen StockAbility provide, which the skills that they provide really, I'm not saying they're basic, but they're so minimal. So you're not going to have to take a textbook and read a whole textbook. It's just following a simple process of these 5 steps. And if you do it, and if you stay consistent, and if you, part of the thing with StockAbility is we do the coaching part. So we submit things, we talk about things, we're seeing these setups, we're seeing these trades, what do you guys think? And that's valuable. If you don't do that too, I think you're first of all losing out, and then secondly, you're not going to grow farther. Because again, going back to my years as a manager in social services, if we can't reflect on ourselves, there's nowhere for growth. No. So, and that's very true with trading, that you have to, put the time in, put the energy in, not only to set up the trade, to execute the trade, to then grade the trade, but also coaching. Because you're not going to learn. This is a job. Like, trading is a job that you could isolate yourself in a room and be by yourself, and nobody needs to know if you're winning or losing. Obviously, you're only going to share your winnings. But it's not going to last long. No. I don't see it lasting long. No. But to go to your question, yeah, I do see more women entering, only a tiny amount. I have that, for me, my own personal goal is to educate more women on that. That's it. I hope that one day, those numbers will be a little less. But what can I do right now for myself is making sure, again, that I teach my kids, my 2 daughters, on, it's out there. Yeah, it's out there. And
I'm sure that I mean, look, I can speak for myself, but I'll ask you, I'm sure that in the past you've experienced, discrimination in the world, in your career, for being a woman, maybe held back. I hope you haven't, but unfortunately, most women I meet have, and most people, whether you're black, white, Asian, young or old, we've all experienced it in some capacity, haven't we?
Right. Yeah.
And, you see it in life. To me, this business, though, this world that we live in as traders and investors, there's no glass ceilings. There's no glass walls. There's no cap on it. Behind a screen, no one really knows who you are. Young, old. Right. Black, white, male, female, right? To me, that's a priceless thing. When people say, what's the thing of it? Forget it. Maybe you just want to make an extra $100 a day. Maybe I want to make an extra £200 a day. Maybe £1,000. You know what? It's hard to do, be in an environment where there's literally nothing holding you back. But if you're prepared to put the work in, if you're prepared to put the work in. As a final, thing I'd love to ask you about this. I've done some statistics, it seems, and I've read some studies and done things, but for me and the women I've worked for in the world of trading and investing, I've worked with, students, I've worked with fellow instructors and so on. I've seen consistently, the women who excel at this just really excel at this and seem to be better teachers at it, just seem to just outperform us guys and everything. You've mentioned psychology. Do you think that plays a part of it? A male perspective, a female perspective, or do you just think it's just, it's just one of those things? I'd just be intrigued to hear it, because I've seen it. I've seen from a psychological perspective, I've just seen the women I've worked with just a lot cooler and calmer than us guys when it comes to trading.
Well, you haven't been in my household, but anyway, I think the reason, and again, my own perspective, as a woman, and I'm sure a lot of my friends too, we overthink things. I know I'll be in the trade room sometimes, post the question of, are you guys worried about this? And everyone's like, why are you even looking at that? So I think the overthought process that women might put into a trade maybe slows them down versus just pushing a button. I think that's got something to do with it. And I don't know how men feel. I just know how I feel. Money is a very powerful tool, and I like to protect it. Yeah. So I like to hold on to mine. I don't like to spend it. So again, if that trade setup is not there, I'm gonna save my money. Yeah. So maybe those are the 2 things of why you see, when women enter, whether if the results are, their end results are better or not. But I think those definitely have some play a part in it.
I know a lot of guys can just rush in a little bit, and I know this for a fact. Rushing into the market doesn't do you any favors.
Right.
I don't like, people make this a get rich quick scheme, and it certainly isn't. It's something for everybody. I couldn't agree with you more when you said, this is literally something for everybody and anybody can do it. It's just whether we all can do it. But the question is, are we all willing to do what it takes to be able to do it? That's the thing.
Right.
That's the thing. But I know you'll be teaching those daughters of yours. I know I'll be teaching my son a little bit about it. And, even if it's just having an interest and just saying, hey, I want to manage my money better, what a great skill to have. Because as I said, once you've got that skill, nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can take it away from you.
No.
Just big shout out to the moment, just while we go on to our next thing, Brian Hannaford, Pedro, at Eugene as well. And Phil Scarborough. Phil, it's great to see you on here. Phil helped raise me when I was a little boy as well. She's over in the UK right now, so it's great to see you on the show as well. Much love to you back there as well. Andrea, every week we do your call, my put as well. But before we do that, let's go over to the charts and take a look, okay? And just do this as well, because I am going to be the and I think you said that you've got something you're bullish on, so you're going to take the call. I'll take the put, which is good. But before we do that, let's go over to the charts. Let's look at some charts together. So I was saying to you, going back to this Dow Jones, and again, I'm using the Dow here because everybody can kind of relate to it. It's the popular index. Everyone's heard of it. You see a market like this, do you get uncomfortable? Like when you look at this from a long-term perspective now and you see that this is growing, everyone out there is just getting, just look at this trend. Let's just zoom in. You can see this monster trend that we've been in. Everyone gets excited about it. I kind of don't, and I'm kind of looking for other opportunities. How does this make you feel when you see this?
Anytime when markets are at all-time highs, I do get nervous because I'm thinking I'm going to be that fool that buys at the top. So, I have tend to not look at the Dow and the major markets because of it, and move to something else that I can read a little bit better. But I think it's just crazy, especially, we know what the economy's like. Right. Come on. Like, should we be that high? No. But again, that's not for you or I to say. It is what it is.
It really isn't. I just say to anybody here looking at this right now, should I buy it right now? I'm like, you can do what the heck you want, but just notice this. Markets don't move in straight lines. They zigzag, they pull back. So right now where we are, I'm going to just say to anybody looking at this as we speak right now, I'd be waiting for this market to pull back a little bit. And that's what you said about the patience thing. I don't want to wait for that. So they start buying it here, it pops, so they take a loss, they panic, and then it does exactly what they were hoping it would do. So right now, I don't see any reason why this market's not going to keep grinding higher, finishing the week strong. We'll see it all on CNBC. Dow has a record week. I would say to anybody looking at this market, and I love trading the broad market indexes, I always have, but a good alternative maybe to be looking at would be like taking a look at like something like the S&P, or maybe I still like that Russell, that's nice, or at least finding something. I know you like the QQQs, right? So let's go over to that. One thing, at least with the QQQs, which is the NASDAQ, we are a little bit weaker on this market and lagging behind. That to me is a little bit more attractive because I'm cheap, I like the fact that on here, I can see that it's got more upside potential before it has to make new highs as well. Sure. Do you like that a little bit when you get something a little bit cheaper on that instance as well? Yeah. I like the pullback it had. I like where it pulled back on Friday. It was in a nice area. It gave me, it added evidence to, my trade plan of, this thing, if it goes up, if I see the right signal, I'm buying this. Would I buy it right now? No, I'm going to wait. Yeah, I don't like this area that we're at the moment. I don't like it. We've got that kind of resistance area, haven't we? And what I'd like to see is a little bit of a pullback and then take it out and move higher in that respect. Definitely on the watch list though for me. I'll be watching that too. As you know, we were in the trade room yesterday as well, looking at Apple too, and Apple's kind of like been holding a nice support area here as well. For me, a little bit of a mixed day on here. We put in some highs earlier at 123, 122, but to me, Apple's in a great position. I really like this, right? And Eugene just saying 50 charge at high taken out, which is nice on there as well. So I still like this. Apple's in a key little point, but you can't write off a great company like this. No matter what you say, me, I just feel like I'm always bullish on Apple. It's just one of those things that I'll always be on. And I see a little bit of room on this at the moment, not just because I'm in the position, but I'd love your thoughts on that. I actually see that for any upside, let's just kind of mark this off. We're not right on top of this 125, 127 area. So I kind of like that, at this particular point too as well. Do you think there's a bit of upside potentially on that one, Andrea? Yeah, I joined with you yesterday and buying some calls, and I got them fairly cheap. Yeah.
I think you paid $4. Sam, I got mine for $3.25.
Nice. There you go. You got them a little bit later.
So I did.
pay
I
for it.
waited. There's that patience. I waited for it to pull back yesterday.
And there's the proof of what we were just talking about, right? That's exactly what we were just talking about. That, sometimes, a little bit extra patience is on there. We just said about that. You said sometimes women are a lot more patient. Hey, your thinking was better. I can act a little bit. But the great thing about options is you can sometimes jump the gun a little bit, but you've got that little bit of breathing space in time as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they plan out as well. So that's good to know. That's good to know as well on that. So you also were mentioning bonds, though. You got an interest in bonds, so there's been a bit more of a focus. What did you want to look at with bonds?
Well, so as a real estate agent, this is what we're seeing across the country. Is home prices continuing to go up higher? They're crazy, but there's no demand out there at all. So buyers are, people are buying homes without even seeing them right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I obviously relate the housing market to the interest rates is this has to slow down.
Yes.
Because what's going to happen is it's going to push up home prices and people are not making the money to be able to afford these home prices.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to cause another correction in the market. So by looking at those charts and also with the background in real estate, I really feel interest rates have to go up. They have to go up to slow down the speed of things selling, because if interest rates go up, you're going to limit the buyers that are being approved right now because interest rates are so low, and which will help buyers because it's going to help buyers to make sure they don't overpay for something. That's my job as a real estate agent, is to make sure people fully understand you buy a house right now, there is not going to be any equity in it. You have to make sure you have that savings put aside. So I feel 30-year bonds are at a low. I'm being patient on it right now because I feel it might come down still a little bit more, but I have the area. I believe I have, right now where we're seeing a little bit of a bounce. I see this moving up higher. And I know some of my other colleagues with StockAbility do too. These interests right there. Yeah, we're right here right now. What are we going to do? Are we going to bounce around a little bit? Are we going to just shoot up from here? Are we going to go up a little bit and then a pullback? Nobody will know. So I'm just waiting until I see some more evidence of the turn. I think the turn's going to happen with anywhere between, now to 6 months. There has to be a rise in interest rates. Yeah. Not only for the housing market, because, we've heard of the Feds buying up so many bonds, we've heard all that stuff. And it's got to come up a little bit because these interest rates cannot stay as low as they are. Inflation,
And in anybody who's looking at this from a chart, I'm so happy you brought this up. If I just go to the screen here, you're seeing these charts here. You've got a monthly time frame, a weekly, and a daily. But let's just kind of focus here right now on this middle one. And looking at this chart, and what Andrea is saying is here, we're expecting to have a bounce from this particular point here. If not here, then probably a little bit lower, massively oversold. What that would mean, if the price of this actually goes up, we'll be seeing a rally in the bond prices because, we have this inverse relationship on here at the moment. But, these markets, this coming down actually means that there's a likelihood that interest rates will be going up. So there's an inverse relationship. But for the short term on here, we would expect a little bit of a bounce where we are at the moment. And I say, to you, I'm glad you brought it up because I think we're in a real predicament right now, Andrea. Let's just talk about this for a second. As a realtor, it's great to have a realtor on the show because for a lot of people, I've been saying, we've created a whole new economy now. Typically over the years, when an economy is getting stronger, demand is in the economy, people are spending money and buying goods, and then inflation creeps in. So then what happens is central banks have to put interest rates up to keep the cost of living down, right, to suppress that. Yet after the 2008 financial crisis, interest rates never went back up. The Fed shot all its bullets, the Bank of England shot all its bullets, the Bank of Canada shot all its bullets, and everyone's done that. And interest rates have crept up, and now we've got so used to this low interest rate world that we live in. Yet that's not synonymous with a strong economy. Typically, strong economies, rising interest rates. Where you got strong economy, steady low interest rates, which means the cost of money. And now with COVID, it's people have all moved out to the suburbs. City prices are going down. Suburban prices are going up. I mean, I got it right now. And it's And I had a realtor over my house, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have to sell your house this. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but look at all the money you're going to make. I'm like, yeah, but then look at all the money I'm going to have to spend to buy the next one. So it's as long as it's broad, you know. A lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, you're right there. But as a real estate agent, let me give you my perspective on that. Are you in your forever home?
Right. No. And no, we're not. And we're not. We're also in a nice position where I've been buying real estate, and we own real estate back in the UK, and we're all good. And we bought that like 20 years ago, and it's paid for and it's done. So we're not sitting here in this point, we've got to get on the ladder. We're like, well, we'll just play.
Right.
And we're not in our forever home. And again, I think that's it. But, you know, you're always waiting for that pullback. I mean, I will say this, though. You know, I went through 2008, and we're going off on one, but it's interesting to talk about this because while this is a trading and investing show, real estate is part of investing. And, you know, I always said this, you know, I probably got my houses, you know, and I got hit in 2008 like everybody did. But luckily, the mortgages weren't crazy that I could keep renting them out and cover the rent. And now I'm glad I did because it worked out okay. I have a long-term belief in real estate, but I feel that just like the stock market, you need those pullbacks. You need things to go on sale to be able for it to then go higher. Would you agree on that?
100%. You need those pullbacks because we need the young people to get into the market.
Right.
Eventually, we all get old, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to downsize. If young people, meaning young people, I'm over 40, so young people in their mid-20s to 30s, we need them to be buying homes. If they don't buy homes, then you know, you got your late 30s, 40s that are looking to move into their next home. The whole tier process doesn't work. Yeah. So if we don't have the young people buying in, it's going to affect the next group. And then the higher group, which is our ones that are looking to retire and downsize, cannot sell their homes. So it's the tier process. So if we don't have a pullback that lets these younger people get into the market and be able to afford a monthly payment, you know, it's not good. And that's the purpose. Yeah, it's all about buying cheap, but you know, the evidence is out there. Younger people might not make as much money as people in their later 40s, and it's all perspective.
Yeah, of course it is.
But we need a pullback, or else we are going to see, you know, a little bit of a oversupply, especially with the bigger homes. Yeah. And there's going to be that gap. But the key with buying your first home or you know getting into the real estate market is again that emotional and due diligence piece. You have, you know, and real estate is being a realtor right now on the I'm not going to say it's easy. It's definitely it's challenging in a different way. Mm-hmm. But that education piece, are we educating people that are buying the home or selling the home? That's key, you know, and that's a passion of mine with real estate, that education piece. Because, yeah, sure, I can sell somebody a home and then sit closing and get my commission check. But, you know, I believe in referral business and repeat business. Yes. So I need to make sure I treat my clients well. Yeah. That continues to go from there. But, yeah, how do I feel about the real estate? There has to be a pullback at some point. Yeah. Do I see it coming anytime soon? Not really. No. I think it's going to take maybe about a year for all this, you know, all the COVID, you know, hopefully we get to back to some kind of normalcy. But I think we're going to see take a year or so to see those effects.
And I don't think the long-term, I don't think the long-term effects of COVID have really sunk in yet. And as you will know, you know, with the real estate and the change that we're seeing, there's such a long delay in it anyway. You know, it takes a long time. It's not as liquid as clicking a button. So I don't see it. For me, I said to my wife, I said, anything, I'd like to just sell my house right now, stick the money in the bank, do a short-term rental while we find out where we want to live and see what happens, you know. I'm not going to get suckered in of I've got to buy something right now. Maybe that'll be good, or maybe I'll pay a higher price. Who knows, right? Who knows? Sure. We'll see.
I have one of my real estate coaches, and she's a mom. She's a sole person that brings in all the income. She's got 3 kids. She brings her kids on the appointment. She's got an amazing YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. She's helped me get to where I'm at. But yeah, she sold her house in October. They packed up their car. They went on a month vacation to I think South Carolina or something. I think now she's living with some family and waiting for that opportunity. So. Yeah. You know, she saw the opportunity to sell her home at a really good price for the equity income she had in it, and just take a month off and focus on a family and focus on everything, you know. And so, yeah, you saying that rings the bell that, you know, some people are just selling right now and getting in an RV and traveling. that makes me want to look at the RV stock. You know what I mean? But
that's it. I know. I know, right? I mean, it's a,
you know,
it's a great thing, you know, and that's it. We're now thinking of moving and so on. It's like we're in no rush to buy anything, you know. But it is, people buy houses emotionally like they buy stocks. People just buy everything emotionally. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of consideration there. Mohammed's just saying a lot of people buying real estate citing the Corona discount they're getting at the moment as well, and in different parts of the world too. I mean, you're seeing it in the UK right now. They've they've lifted the stamp duty at the moment, and you know things are going crazy. But you know, level heads prevail in the end. Level heads prevail. I'm really excited that we got an opportunity to talk. I'd love to do more real estate. You might have to become my real estate regular on here now, Andrea, as well. Talking.
I'd love to. Yeah.
We do need to have a regular real estate kind of chat in here as well. So I think, you know, you've just qualified yourself more than adequately for that on the show as well. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Let's talk a couple of things. So let's do your call, my put. So what are you bullish on? We've got a couple of minutes before the show ends on here. What are you bullish on then? What do you fancy right now? What are you seeing? What would you like me to pull up on the charts for us here?
Well, I got to pull up my EXPI.
EXPI,
my
okay.
Company, I'm passionate. EXPI.
Yeah, EXP World Holdings. Okay, great. Wow, what a 2020 they had there on the money. Just look at it on the weekly charts as well. But look at that.
Yeah.
So I see, you know, you got that, and that's working out really good for you. So you got to remain bullish on this right now, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, we had to split in early February. You know, we're thinking maybe that was a little too soon, but yeah. And to think that this company I work for gives you stock your first sale every year. It gives you stock. It gives you, so I've been given stock in this company, and it shot up. What's that? 160% or something this year. But yeah, I have to remain bullish on it. I'm being patient right now. I think it's got to settle out a little bit. I think we moved up too fast, too high, too fast. We got to, you know, take a little breather.
Dan always says that, doesn't he? Dan Bustamante, when your coach is too far, too fast, right?
Yeah. So I have to stay bullish on it. I will be adding in onto my wealth buckets. I will be adding into this once it shows me, once it proves to me it's ready to go up. But
yeah, there's a couple of areas I'm looking at on the charts here around the $40, which is bouncing off here, and even the 2025. And then sometimes people get really nervous, like, oh, well, if it comes all down to that, scary. Is it? Because that could just be an absolute bargain. I've seen markets then push the lows and then have that move to the upside from there.
Right.
I suppose you're treating this like a real long-term play as well on here, aren't you? I mean, So you're prepared in that instance, you know, to sit through those ups and downs. You're not watching it constantly. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, and at the top there, right around the $100 mark, before the split, I did sell.
Oh, nice.
And I, you know, was like, you know, it moved up still another $20 from there. Yeah. You know, was that the best decision? Well, I had to base that decision on my own family situation, and we did it. And do I regret it now? Absolutely not.
No, you banked a ton of profit off of that. You saved yourself about, what, a $45 loss on that, and then use that profit to buy it back at a cheaper price, right? I mean,
right.
That to me is smart investing, where, you know, what frustrates me, Andrew, is, you know, you get the concept where people are very much just like, well, you know, what I'm going to do, and I'll just pull up a whiteboard here, is, you know, as the market keeps going higher, you know, and it goes higher, it has the pullbacks and it keeps going. They just keep, you know, as the trend is going higher, they just keep buying, which is increasing your average entry price. But then when you've bought so much up here, you take a massive hit and then you have to sit in it. Whereas I prefer personally the opportunity of, hey, take a little bit of profit, get out, and then when it comes back, we can always then use that profit to buy more of it at a lower price to enjoy more on the upside. Sounds like what you were doing. You've got more of that kind of thinking, right? Adding at a decent price rather than adding at a high price. Yeah, and StockAbility really helped me with that, because before I'd be like, oh, I thought holding on to things was the best thing, because, you know, you can make more money, But with StockAbility, when working with Dan with the options, it's like it's the 3K challenge. So if the money's there and I like that money, at the end of the day, I'm closing out. Closing out, and I'll wait to get back in. Yeah. I had it today. You know, I on the market, or I was just talking about that. You know, I know it's a shorter term play that we did, but on the Dow, You know, I took a trade on it, trying to get long. I buy it, I got whipped on it, and then I got another clear signal. I did it, and I had to make back the loss. You know, but it cleared like $1,500 for the day on a move in about an hour, right? And it's gone higher, but then I'm also like, well, it might not have gone higher, and it might given it all back, right. And I stick to my thing. So it feels better to sit back. I tried to sit back and go, hey, grateful if the profits were good, and it was a $300 risk, right? So you got to think, made back the loss, ended on profit. You've got to be satisfied, haven't you, at some point? You know, and just say, hey, am I being sensible about it?
Yeah.
You're not going to hit every single
one. Yeah, you have to. Right, you're not going to buy every low, and you're not going to sell every high, and you have to be okay with leaving some money up on the table. You know, like you guys say, just think of it as giving it to charity, giving it to somebody else. So that's the way I think of it. This is my donation for today. I've got what I needed.
I like that.
And tomorrow, and I'm done for the day. I
love that idea.
I'm going to take the day off and.
Well, you've definitely piqued my interest in EXP, so I'll be adding that onto my watch list as well and seeing. And the options are there. Is it got enough liquidity in the options on it? Have you seen, or are you just trading the outright stock or investing in the outrights on this?
I just recently started looking at the options, and the options are there.
Pretty thin, though, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it's really funny when you start to understand. Expand your learning in options, or have an understanding in options. When you see those big red candles going down, there was a really big off balance in the options put.
Right.
So there was all of a sudden 1,000 plus shares puts being sold or bought or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the rest of the strike prices were 10, 15. There was no volume on the other strike prices, so you knew that the price was going to come down. But to answer your questions on the options piece, it's still very thin.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think it's going to grow. I've seen the increase in volume since I've been sharing this stock with my other coworkers. And we've been really studying the volume. The volume is consistent, staying more consistent above that range that we like to see for trading. So as more investors come in with that nice pullback you saw, I think it's purposely for more investors to come in. Hopefully that will increase the volume in options.
I think it's at a good enough. I think it's at a good enough price as well right now, though, where you can, it's not a crazily overpriced stock, is it?
Right.
I always say the realms of when you're getting into three figures, $100 plus, it makes it more challenging to put that cash investment in there. And as you know, one of the things that you're familiar with is, we'd like to use stock replacement strategies by using the option instead. In a case of Apple, I'd prefer to be doing that. The Teslas of this world, the Googles, we can participate for a much better price. But I'll be watching that as well. It's just awesome, though. Did you ever think, a couple of years ago, here you'd be on a show talking about, liquidity in the options on the stocks that you're looking at? It's awesome. I mean, it's pretty inspiring,
No, I did.
I love it.
I didn't think I was smart enough, honestly. Didn't think I had, to see where I was 20 years ago to now. Total change. I wouldn't change a thing. And I just see positivity coming from it, and where it's going to go from here. Even, like you said, just teaching our younger generation about the markets. The markets are always going to be there. Options might not be, or whatever, but the markets will always be there.
They will.
And they're going to be there's opportunity there if you get the right skills behind it. So
absolutely,
I appreciate you too. Having me come on. This is kind of a dream. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I've never had to, never been able to get there.
Well, you're definitely proving your knowledge, and I love it. And again, I've already got you eyed up for more time on this show as well.
Oh yes.
Well, let's get your opinion on this. I have to do my bearish play then. Your call was EXPI. My put play, which would be a bearish play, which I think is something is going down, would be I feel dollar yen, US dollar, Japanese yen. This would mean I am a little bit negative on the US dollar right now. Whatever you want to say, just take a look at this chart on the left-hand side. We have been in a pretty strong downtrend. Even if you just look at this period of time from here, we've been making lower lows and lower highs. I mean, it's kind of like a wedge formation. I don't want to get too deep, but if you just see overall where this market has been, to me, I just, you know, look at this and this dollar yen, look for where we were just like, and where we've been coming down from. Even if you just look in the last, 15, 20 years, it's just in that place. But even still, let's just look at this over the next couple of weeks. Where it is right now, there is a ton of resistance, I feel, right now where we are. This market has got its work cut out for it to get through this area here. I'd say 109, 110. To me, the way that candle's shaping right now, I see nothing but a little bit of downside in this market to probably looking at around this 105 area. Would you, how would you take a look at that right now, Andrea?
Yeah, I definitely. That's a nice pullback or correction right there. So to join into it.
So this would mean we're looking at downside on the dollar and upside on the Japanese yen right now. So
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still think the dollar's got more upside in the long term, but again, against the yen here right now, to me, there's that strength. And typically, I don't know, we'll have to see on this how it goes. But I tend to just look at the prices, look at where they are, and to me, this is a great price. If you've got dollars and the dollar's been doing real well for the last couple of weeks, great time to sell them and take a bit of profit, right? So
right, and that moved down since you showed that high there. That's on the other chart. I don't know what chart that was, a monthly maybe.
Yes, monthly. Yeah.
That's a crazy.
It's a long-term
play.
So very long-term play. Very long-term play. So if I can't find, because I got to say, there's not a whole lot of stocks right now I'm really bearish on. I just don't want to be. But that's why we diversify a bit, looking at things like currencies as well. So we'll keep that on the watch list. Well, can I say on behalf of the whole team here, Take Stock Live and StockAbility, Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We didn't even plan to talk real estate, but some really great informative stuff on there as well. Let me just say this. I mean, just on behalf of, our education team that we have as well, you've been an amazing, and you continue to be an amazing part of our community as well, but just truly inspiring. I have just a ton of respect for anybody, who not only, is a parent, but also juggles businesses, let alone multiple businesses, and has the confidence to learn new skills. So my hat comes off to you as well. And I'd like to thank you sincerely for taking the time to come on the show. Will you come back again and have a little bit, talk more real estate and markets with us in the next few weeks?
I'd love to. Absolutely. Yeah. And I told my daughters, I bribed them because we're going on a little overnight girls trip tonight. So I bribed them. But even for me to tell them, Mom's going on a big Zoom call that's very important to Mom, so I need some quiet, and they've listened. Even for me to tell them that lifts my spirits, because
that's beautiful.
They hear that you do hard things, and that you if you work hard enough, you get to put yourself in positions for this. So they had a lot of questions with it. Well, who's going to be there? Who's on? Are you teaching this time? Because again, my background, as an educator and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not teaching. But yeah, it's for you. So I'm thankful for you asking, for being part of this show today, and being able to share that with them, that I'm, on this live show that I'm super nervous for, and wish me luck. And
well, you wouldn't have known. It's great. How old what's the names of them, if you don't mind? How old are they?
Yeah, I have a soon to be 12-year-old Adley, and I have a 7-year-old Hallie. Girls, very much like their mom. So
well, they're going to do fine then.
Yeah.
Great.
And this COVID's kind of been as much as it's been a struggle, it's been a blessing. So I've been able to really see their learning styles, put techniques into place that's going to help them improve. And yeah, we got our struggles. My 7-year-old's on the floor half the time. She's right behind me. Those Zoom calls with first graders, I don't know how teachers are doing it, but
oh my God, they are doing a great job. And I tell you, the teaching community, thank you. My son's been going, he's in pre-K now, but they do a great job. And, it's just, and it's important for them. You worry about their mental health as well. It's been a tough time for the kids as well. So, any parent, putting the time in juggling it. But like you said, what you put in, you get back out as well. So no one knows that more than me. So a big shout out to those guys. Thank you for supporting your mum. She's doing a great job. That's what they need as well. Andrea, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll have you back on the show soon, okay? Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing? If you can buy your teacher a cup of coffee or something, just do it. Just do it. Get $20, $5, $4, $5 gift cards, and just hand them out to teachers. I don't know. I try to do that every so often with my girls.
That's a lovely thing. They do a lot. They have to pay for their own supplies and,
what? Hey,
No, I get it. Well, Miss Allison's my little one's teacher. So, Miss Allison, we love you. We'll be definitely doing that on Andrew's recommendation as well. Thank you.
All right, Sam, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Guys, that was Andrea Galitz on the show with us. Absolutely just fantastic to have her on the show as well. And just an inspiration. I found it inspiring, but to anyone looking at the show, man, woman, old, young, who cares? It's just great to see people asking questions, difficult questions, taking up new challenges, and, you know, then pursuing those things and giving 100% commitment to it. And at the same time, managing a family, you know, and not just having one change, but multiple careers as well. You know, at the end of the day, the only thing that holds most people back is this thing between our ears. And that, guys, is the danger for most people is, you know, get out of that overthinking it and just commit. And it's incredible what we do. And hopefully any one of you guys watching the show right now feels a little bit more inspired seeing something like that. I know I certainly am as well. And we're going to definitely have Andrea back as our resident real estate analyst because, man, she knows her stuff. That was awesome. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about what we do at TakeStock and with StockAbility.com, best thing I can recommend you do is to head over to our website, StockAbility.com. This show is brought to you by StockAbility.com. You know the drill. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, and once you get past these smiling faces of the lead instructors, you will see on here our next 2 webinars that we've got coming up on here. Let's just go back over to this again. Oh, it's my screen just came off there, so let me just come back and bring that up for you. We don't need the charts. What we need is the StockAbility page. That's what happens when you press the Control Q button. Let's scroll back again. I love live stuff. It's fantastic. Here we go again. And if you take a look, we had this one yesterday, understanding how the markets really work. The next one that we've got coming up is actually this coming Tuesday. We call this the Trading Business Blueprint. It's going to be hosted by myself and Ryan Watkins. Well, we're going to actually be doing our business blueprint, how that works by looking at live markets around 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have about an hour there of Ryan and I double heading and co-heading that show as well, looking at live markets and how we actually put our trading business blueprint into action. The last day of the month, Wednesday, 31st March at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. London time, crisis proof business we're going to be doing on there. They are complimentary webinars. Come in, check out, see what we do, and have some fun. And, you know, again, we're always there, happy to answer any questions and show you what we do. So that's going to be next Tuesday, 16th of March, 11 a.m. or Wednesday, 31st of March, 12 p.m. as well. Going to be doing some live trading and analysis in those particular sessions as well. Wow, what a show. Whew, what a show. It's been an absolute blast, guys. I always love doing this show. Again, a big shout out to some of the group on here. Eugene, Karen Grimes, Pedro, thanks buddy, Louise Fox, much love to you and Max, Peggy Jerome, Brian Hannaford, Mohammed as well. Big shout out to you and the family out in Dubai as well. Phil, so good to see you in the show. Scrolling down, looking at all of those all in real time as we go, looking at these things. So guys, it's been just absolutely wonderful to see you guys all on the show, and thank you for your support. It means the world to us here at the team as well. If you are looking at this live, great, but if you're now looking at this and want to look at it again, always check out the recording here on Facebook Live. All the catalogue of previous shows is available for you to view at your own pleasure and own pace and time. Also, you can subscribe to the StockAbility.com YouTube channel, and if you do on there, all our previous shows are there, plus regular screenshots, regular mini lessons. We've got a lot of content going out across social media, so follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. Hey, you can even go and see us on, what do they call it, Pinterest as well now. We're everywhere, and we have a ton of content from our fantastic instructor team and our students as well. What a great show. Truly inspiring. Guys, my name is Sam Evans. This has been Take Stock Live. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Be careful buying the highs. And if you are, make sure you protect those profits and enjoy this weather if you're anywhere here on the East Coast. We've got a lovely few days ahead of us, and I'll see you the same time next Thursday here on Facebook Live at noon. Thank you guys. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.